Listeners to Love 101 FM are advised that the views and opinions expressed in this program are not necessarily those of Love 101 FM.
Hello and welcome to the Morning Watch on Love 101 FM. I'm your host, Toussaint. A special welcome to our listeners on love101.org. And if you're overseas and on the move, US listeners can access us at 712-832-8001. And if you're in the UK, 0330-332-6541. Or join us via the Love 101 FM app that can be downloaded from the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. You can also join us on Love 101 FM Facebook and YouTube Live. In the first watch today, e-prescriptions are now permissible, diagnosing the possibilities and challenges. In the second watch, the ministry and mission of the church during and after the pandemic and the war in Ukraine. For our social media question, we ask, what are your concerns, if any, about the electronic transmission of prescriptions? Please share your responses on our Love 101 FM Facebook page and YouTube channel, and also on WhatsApp, 876-997-3125, using the hashtag The Morning Watch. We'll share your responses later on in the program, but before all of that, here's I quote.
Don't sit down and wait for the opportunities to come. Get up and make them. Madam C.J. Walker.
Okay, good morning, Deidre.
Good morning, Dr. Toussaint. How are you today?
I am doing well. You know, I was listening to some of those gospel songs some way back, and I'm saying, boy, at my age, the first time hearing many of them. Where did you dig them up?
They're in the library. I know them all.
Like I need to come and just spend a day in the library to hear some of these gospel songs.
Yes, you should. Or listen all day Thursday.
Let us see.
All right.
The first watch will be back after this break.
Shake and go with true shake. Shake and go. Grab a true shake and go. When me have to put in the work, but I'm moving slow. Grab a true shake and go. School time and not joke time. Office study hard, brain full time. Grab a true shake and go. When we up in the gym, we have to stay healthy and fit. Grab a true shake and go. Shake and go with True Shake. Packed with 9 grams of protein, 24 key vitamins and minerals to keep you going. Grab a true shake and go.
Keep fully connected with Flow Fiber Fast Internet at home and on the road with LTE data and calls for a fast, reliable experience anywhere. Over 500 communities have been upgraded since 2020, making more of Jamaica Flow Fiber Fast. And with Yard and Road, get Flow Fiber Faster Yard and LTE Road for as low as $3,999 plus GCT. Visit discoverflow.co to get connected on Jamaica's largest network. Conditions apply.
Renovators, homeowners, contractors, fixer-uppers, do-it-yourselfers. It's a construction reduction at the Home and Things Pro Savings Sales event. Warning! The prices are dangerously low. Get the lowest prices on tiles, bathroom fixtures and faucets, windows and doors, and so much more, including new arrivals. So shop now for everything you need for your project. It's the Pro Savings Sales event happening now at Home and Things. Don't detour. Come down to Home and Things, Old Loop Road and Constant Spring Road.
I'm advice you don't know a lot of shot and tally. I have a message to everyone. Get vaccinated. Hey, tourism the main driver of the local economy. It provides us with job, save the country. So everybody in the industry, get the job and come follow me. It don't hurt to the dirt. Link the nurse cause the vaccine work. Get vaccinated. Get this is a message from the Ministry of Tourism. Get vaccinated. Just get vaccinated. You're deaf?
8884 Gastro. That's the only number you need to know. 8884 Gastro. first, that's for sure. We feel it right. So when you're ready to light, day or night, the blue flame burns bright. So when you time you need cooking gas, call Gas Pro and you get it fast. 8884 Gas Pro. Get attached to the one you know. Gas Pro, gas professionals.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Now, everything can be done online nowadays. Even the transmission of prescription for drugs through electronic means. And yet, it is now legally permissible. The next time you need a prescription, it may just be an email away. But is it really that easy? Or are there some things we need to be concerned about? Well, to discuss this and other related matters, we have online Dr. Winsome Christie, President of the Pharmaceutical Society of Jamaica, and Dr. Dane Levy, Family Physician of the Edgewater Medical Center in Portmore. Good morning to you both.
Good morning, Dr. Dan. Good morning, Dr. Levy.
Good morning.
Good morning, Dr. Toussaint, and good morning, Dr. Winsome. I did not get
Christie.
your last name, but good morning
Christie,
anyway.
Christie.
Thank you so much.
Yes. All right, good to have you both with us. Let me begin with you, Dr. Levy. What really are e-prescriptions and how advantageous are they, or will they be, to Jamaica's health sector?
Dr. Toussaint, can you
Yes.
please repeat your question, Emma?
Okay. I was asking, Doc, what really are
Yes,
e-prescriptions? Yes, what really
What
are
really
e-prescriptions?
are?
Yes, and how advantageous are they?
What really are e-prescriptions?
Yes, and how advantageous to the health sector are they? I'm not sure if Dr. Levy was hearing me. All right, we'll have to rectify that. Going to ask the announcer to look into that some more. Dr. Christie, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, I wonder if I throw that to you, how will you respond? Could you tell us what it really is? How advantageous to the health sector is it?
Okay, e-prescriptions refer to the creation of an electronic document on a computer, so it's a soft copy document. And then that is electronically to the pharmacist, from the prescriber to the pharmacist, who then can either print it or prepare the prescription, the items, the medication from the prescription. And in doing so, they would be engaging in e-dispensing. So it's all electronic. In the past, you have electronic transmissions, but these were referring to handwritten hard copies.
Right.
Prescription, and then you could email it electronically to the pharmacy of choice, or nowadays we use WhatsApp, and then back in facsimile, but people still fax things, but yes. So those are referring to hard copy, but electronic prescribing refers to creation of a document from a software.
So what's the platform on which that is used normally? Is it by email, WhatsApp, both?
In the past, you have the hard, remember you have the hard copy, and then you scan it, send it to the email, or scan it and then fax it. Or nowadays, you can even take a picture of it and send it via WhatsApp. So it's just the internet that you're using, right? That media, whatever software you have. But when you're doing e-prescribing, you have to create the document in your computer. So persons have medical software to create patients' records. And so that is where it's created from. And then it's electronically now to the pharmacist. Now, the problem is there are different parts of a prescription.
Yes.
Patient age, name, demographics, right? Then you have the items, the drugs that the person is going to be taking, the frequency, duration of the medication, and most importantly, the signature of the doctor.
Yes.
Now, when e-prescription, that has to be created electronically. So that's one of the problems. The verification and the authentication that the signature is credible is real, because you have fraud.
Right.
You have e-signature act in Jamaica now that allows persons using e-signature. So that's not the issue. The issue is for us to ensure as pharmacists that this signature is legitimate. Even though we have handwritten copies, we have a lot of fraud, Dr. Toussaint, where
Yes.
people forging signatures and forging all kinds of things. Even patients are ticking off things to say repeat and stuff like that. But we have picked it up. We know how,
Right.
true, right? So when you get to e-signature now, that you realize how serious that is. It's not just simply being able to do it. We applaud the initiative, but we have to look at these things that can pose a danger to the.
We're going to say more about that. I gather that Dr. Levy is back with us. Dr. Levy, are you back with us?
Yes, Dr.
Can you hear?
I'm back with you.
Right. No, I gather that you have been using e-prescriptions for a number of years now. What is the difference with it being now permissible? And also, how have you found it over the years? Was it advantageous to your practice? And what were some of the negatives that you saw?
Thank you for that question, Dr. Toussaint. And I must say good morning to your listeners. And I must apologize for getting Dr. Christie's last name wrong. Thank you. To be accurate, what we have actually done in the past, or up to now, is that we have sent these prescriptions to the pharmacist either by email or by fax or by WhatsApp, but we have been required to also make the hard copy or the original prescription available to the pharmacy for verification. With this new, and that is because the pharmacy will allow that to happen, so that in certain cases the patient can, in emergencies, etc., the patient can be able to avail themselves of the medication that they require. But we would always be required to produce the hard copy of that prescription at some time or the other. So that is what we have done. And to be more accurate, what I've been using is electronic medical records, and not so for the majority of the prescriptions that have been written, they are really written on hard copy. It's a minority that happens in the case where we forward prescriptions like that to the pharmacist.
Yes.
You asked about it. Sorry, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, disadvantages and advantages. How has it been for you?
Of course, as I mentioned, the advantage, let me go first. The advantage is that you, in the case where the patient is unable to come into the office, then you can get that prescription to the patient, and the pharmacist will facilitate that, especially in the pandemic era.
Right.
The pharmacists have actually been delivering prescriptions to patients, and we try to facilitate getting medications to the patients who so badly need it. And
Dr. Levy, I'm so sorry. Could you hold that thought, please? Or up on a break? We'll be right back.
Yes.
What would I do without you? You are carry on. You help me stay strong whenever I'm down and can get through. You lift me up again and going all day long. Precious moments we share with you, everything's so right. It's clear, nothing else can compare to the taste that you bring to life. Mom, take it full of life.
Tell me where you get the money transfer.
Alliance.
Where you get the money transfer.
Alliance.
Where you get the money transfer. Money move like a bird, like a plane, it's a blur. Money quick, money fast, money reach in a flash. This your agent no run out of cash. Pay the rent, pay the bills or buy the grocery. Make a call for the cash and pay the school fee.
Money when and where you need it. Alliance MoneyGram Money Transfer. Convenient locations island-wide. A member of the Sagicor Group.
Tell me where you get the money transfer.
Alliance.
Let me your phone again there. Mine are more shaky. Brother, it's about time. For what? You switch to Flow for the blue side vibes with big smartphone deals. Like the Alcatel A1 for just $4,645 GCT include, which comes with 14 days of unlimited talk, YouTube, Spotify, and social, plus 4 GB TikTok data. Or ZTE A31 for just $6,500 GCT included. Comes with a 7-day unlimited plan. Link a Flow store now for switch and keep your number. Offer available while stocks last. Conditions apply.
8884 Gas Pro. That's the only number you need to know. 8884 Gas Pro. Safety first, that's for sure. We feel it right. So when you're ready to light, day or night, the blue flame burns bright. So when you tell you need cooking gas, call Gas Pro and you get it fast. 8884 Gas Pro. Get attached to the one you know.
Gas Pro, gas professionals.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for joining us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. And in this, the first watch, we have been discussing the whole matter of e-prescriptions, which are now permissible. And we have online Dr. Winsome Christie, President of the Pharmaceutical Society of Jamaica, and Dr. Dane Levy, family physician from the Edgewater Medical Center in Portmore. Thanks for staying with us, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Levy, before the break, you're telling us about the disadvantages as you see it.
Oh, yes. Good morning again, sir. I was speaking to the disadvantages of the e-prescriptions. Well, as you would have seen in the release by the Minister of Health, there are still some areas in terms of the regulations that need to be concretized. To take into consideration that, as the president of the Pharmaceutical Society pointed out, the sensitivity and privacy of the information. A prescription is a legal document, and so we have to be careful that the privacy and of the patient is guaranteed in the transmission of these prescriptions over the internet. We must, of course, also make sure that the Data Protection Act, there's a mention of the Data Protection Act in the release. So whatever platform you're using, we have to ensure that the privacy of the patient is protected. So that could be if it is not, then that would be a definite disadvantage. And of course, we have also to make sure that the platforms that we're using are secure, that cyber threats and all like that are guarded against, that they are properly encrypted. It is a release that the minister made that I think there are quite a few areas, and if you read the release carefully, there are quite a few areas that still need to be fleshed out in terms of the regulations and how you monitor the system. in order that we protect, because the patient, of course, is the center of all of this, in order that we protect the secrecy, the security, and the privacy of the patient. It will be convenient to do e-prescriptions, definitely, but we cannot dispense with the privacy and the security of our patients' information.
Yeah, Dr. Christie, Dr. Levy has mentioned a host of things a while ago, and also you had mentioned earlier, and what I'm hearing coming out, issue of privacy, sensitivity, data protection, fraud. From what about the patients though, Dr. Christie? What can the patient do to ensure that these things are intact? Is there anything that the patient can do?
Go ahead, Dr. Reed.
Yes, Dr. Christie, can you hear me?
Yes, the transmission is a bit bad, but go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
Yes, I was asking, is there anything that the patient can do? We have spoken a lot about the privacy issue, sensitivity, data protection, fraud. What can the patient do in the process to secure these things?
Well, for one thing, they would always ensure that the doctor they attend is a duly registered and licensed doctor. But that may be a bit difficult for them. But the Medical Council of Jamaica has a list of the doctors who are also registered. They would. I'm not sure if the patients can do much. They are relying on us to have the framework in place, and then they would benefit from the process. Because another thing we were requesting of the government is that they would ensure that when the patients get to the doctor, they have the choice of whether they want to use the electronic prescribing.
I'm sorry, Dr. Christie. Dr. Christie, can you hear me?
Yes.
Your line is distorted. Your line is badly distorted. I don't know what's going on.
I'm not sure.
All right, you have turned off your video. I hope that works a little bit.
Can you hear me a bit better?
It's still distorted. Go ahead, go. Let's see if we can hear it better. Go ahead.
Let me see if I can join with my laptop. What I was saying is, I don't think the patients can do much except they have to ensure that the physicians they attend are duly registered and licensed.
Okay, Dr. Christie, I'm so sorry. It's getting worse. The producer will call you back, okay? We'll get back to you on that one.
Okay.
Yeah. Dr. Levy, are you still with us?
Yes, Dr. Toussaint, I'm still with you.
Yeah, right. I wonder if I throw that question to you, how would you respond? The patient, what can the patient do to, ensure that these challenges and concerns do not become a reality?
Thanks for the question. If I expand a little on what Dr. Christie was trying to say, that the patient must ensure that the doctor is a duly registered physician, and of course, the certificate must be displayed in the doctor's office, and likewise, they must ensure that the pharmacy that they are going is a duly registered pharmacy as well, with a registered pharmacist, and these documents should be easily and visibly displayed. One of the points that was made in the release is that the patient will have to sign a document that gives us the right to transmit their information in a secure manner. So they would have to ensure that they sign this document, and also they would have to ensure that they themselves have certain responsibilities. They must guard their information, and of course, also the prescriptions that have been sent to the pharmacy, they must also ensure that what is written on the prescription is what they get. Now, one of the advantages that I wanted to point out that I did not get a chance to is that if it is a truly e-prescription, then the reading of the prescription tends to be much easier. Us doctors have a way of transforming our handwriting a bit until sometimes mistakes could be made, but the e-prescriptions would sort of eliminate that possibility. So there are some responsibilities that the patient has to
but interesting point you're raising there, Dr. Levy. The signature can also be done electronically. Did I hear Dr. Christie saying that earlier?
Yes, it can be done electronically.
Right. So somebody can access your computer and use that same electronic signature and actually send a prescription.
Exactly, and that is why it is important that the Data Protection Act that the minister alluded to in his release, in terms of making sure that we observe all the regulations that are included in that Data Protection Act to preserve the privacy and security of the information. We have to ensure that our systems are of such that they meet those standards. And he also mentioned that these things will be audited, and there's a committee to be set up in the ministry to audit these things.
Okay.
And so, I think the efforts are being made to make sure as much as possible that we guard against fraud, and that the correct level of security, the required level of security and privacy is ensured.
Yeah. Dr. Christie, you're back with us?
Yes, I'm back. And I do agree with what Dr. Levy is saying, all of what he has said. And in addition, there is an Electronic Transaction Act in Jamaica now that allows for the legal recognition of e-signatures and e-contracts in Jamaica. But as Dr. says, we need to ensure that there's a way to, they have a term called encrypting a signature, and some US companies you have to pay and do all kinds of things to ensure that the signature is legal and recognized and cannot be tampered with. So we have to put all these things in place to ensure, as the doctor said, that there's no forgery. And also for the patients, you were asking about the patients, the doctor mentioned about them signing a consent form. They need to ensure that the doctor they're going to is legal and so registered, that the pharmacy they go to have their current, the part of the law is for us to display our current certificate on the wall so the patient can verify all of these things. So the patient has to be involved to help ensure that the process is transparent, but we do need the guidelines in place to support the process.
What are the penalties, so far as you understand it, Dr. Christie, for breaches?
Penalty?
Yeah, is there any penalty to the doctor for any breaches in that regard? Or the pharmacist? Or the pharmacist?
I would more know about the pharmacist. Well, if you do not...
You don't know about the pharmacist? The pharmacist has nothing to do with this in terms of possible breach as well?
I said I'm not sure about the doctor. I'd be more able to speak about the pharmacist.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear clearly. Sorry.
That's okay. Right. Well, the pharmacist, if you do not have your current license, you cannot be open for business. If you breach, then the pharmacy council will take you to task on that, and it can result in suspension and other things that they would deem necessary based on their tribunal hearing. So there are penalties for breaches.
Okay. All right. Dr. Levy, you have the final word, 1 minute. Any final thoughts?
Thank you, Dr. Toussaint, for allowing me the final word. I think this is a way that we must go. I think it is to the doctor's advantage, to the patient's advantage, that it is instituted properly and that the proper guidelines are put in place and that everybody is fully educated as to what are their responsibilities and rights. And it is inevitable that this move had to be made, but it requires the correct framework for it to be truly successful.
Well, thank you very much. A very fitting note on which to end. Dr. Christie, Dr. Levy, have a safe and productive day. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Toussaint.
Yeah.
Bless you.
Good morning, Dr. Christy again. Have a good
Yes,
day.
Doctor. You too, Dr. Levy. Thank you very much.
Listeners, the Morning Watch will return in just a moment.
A JN Bank personal unsecured loan can help you tackle your goals with monthly payments as low as $19,999 per million. Conditions apply. The time by JN Bank is
7:31 on Love 101.
Get $100 cash from Alliance for your birthday bash when you collect a MoneyGram money transfer on your birthday this June. Conditions apply.
Let me your phone again there. Mine are more shaky. Brother, it's about time. For what? You switch to Flow for the blue side vibes with big smartphone deals. Like the Alcatel A1 for just $4,645 GCT include, which comes with 14 days of unlimited talk, YouTube, Spotify, and social, plus 4 GB TikTok data. Or ZTE A31 for just $6,500 GCT included. Comes with a 7-day unlimited plan. Link a Flow store now for switch and keep your number. Offer available while stocks last. Conditions apply.
Jamaica and its workforce are advancing quickly. Life-changing opportunities are arising. You need training and support. We are the Renewed Heart NSTA Trust, committed to providing new and emerging skills training and opportunities. Come to Heart. We'll help you claim your place in the workforce of the future.
Prepare for the future with over $3 million in cash and prizes with Tang. From May 9th to July 30th, chance to win monthly prizes of laptops, tablets, smart savings accounts, school supplies voucher. Grand draw on August 17th. First place $1 million. Second place $500,000. Third place $250,000. Buy any 6-pack of Tang for a chance to win. Upload receipts at tangpromotion.com. Drop in supermarkets or mail P.O. Box 2010 CSO.
The first sound they make is to simply let the world know they're here. And then it's our duty to help them show the world why they're here in the first place.
Give them every advantage with the Guardian Achiever, a plan that provides for their educational dreams and protects their health and life in the process. For more information, call 888-4LIFE to speak to an advisor or visit myguardiangroup.com.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. We normally would look at the newspapers to see what Jamaicans and others are saying and doing. I'm not seeing those headlines at the moment. So coming up next, we'll read some of the feedback from our social media question. What are your concerns, if any, about the electronic transmission of prescriptions? I repeat, what are your concerns, if any, about the electronic transmission of prescriptions? We just discussed it in the first watch. Leave a comment on our Facebook page and YouTube channel, Love 101 FM Jamaica, or WhatsApp 876-997-3125. We'll be right back.
You can't turn up.
Love 101, the family station, will commence this year's I Love Summer Tour with a church service at the Kingston Open Bible Church this Sunday, June 12 at 8 a.m. with Pastor Reverend Franklin King and Speaker Minister Clayton Roberts. As we embark on this exciting and fun-filled journey across the island, we pause to seek the guidance and blessings of the Lord. Listen for the church service live on Love 101 FM radio and on Love 101's social media platforms. Love 101 FM I Love Summer Tour Church Service this Sunday, June 12 at 8 a.m. at the Kingston Open Bible Church, right here on the family station, Love 101.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. We now go into the second watch. Now, we are we're approximately 2.5 years into the pandemic, with a variant that continues to cause illness and death across the world and within our nation. On February 24 of this year, Russia invaded Ukraine in a major escalation of the conflict that ostensibly began in 2014. This too has been causing havoc across the world and within our nation. What is the ministry and mission of the church during and after the pandemic? And of course, the war in Ukraine. Well, to discuss these and other related issues, we have joining us the Reverend Orlando Wright, pastor of the Mount Nebo Circuit of Baptist Churches, and Pastor Silburn Carr, pastor of the Abundant Life Christian Church. Good morning to you both.
Good morning. Good morning. Thanks for having us.
All right, good to have you both with us, gentlemen of the cloth. Let me just ask you, how has the pandemic and the negative spin-off of the war in Ukraine affected the church or churches of which you have oversight? Beginning with you, Reverend Carr.
Well, initially, I want to go a little bit. During the pandemic, it affected our fellowship in that we had to be online, and the lockdown impacted us in a negative way. But there's also a positive spin to it, in that because we were online, it would prevent the traveling and therefore have a certain amount of connectivity without having to leave one's home. Another negative, I think, is the lack of fellowship that has resulted from it. And during the time, a few persons were ill as well. It has affected us both ways, positive and negatively.
Yes. Reverend Wright, your take on that?
Yes, you see, the pandemic certainly has affected our church fellowship and even the church growth. Even though we have the online service and sometimes the whole networking in terms of connectivity, because we are in a rural setting, it was so difficult to get this thing working the way we would like to see it work. So we have been affected greatly with that. And people stay home, and some of them do not really have the smartphone that we can connect with them through WhatsApp and other modality. But we have weathered the storm throughout all of that. And because of what I'm doing here, I try to really keep the circuit together in terms of having prayers and all of that, and so on, even though the negative impact. But we try to hold things together as a church.
Yes. No, Reverend Carr, you mentioned both positives and negatives.
Yes.
What are some of the challenges you had and that your church faced in dealing with some of those negative effects?
I think one of the big negative, Rev, is the lack of momentum. Like when you have to break, sometimes you may have a lockdown for a certain period and you can open back for a couple of weeks. So you know that in church, once you have the fellowship Sunday to Sunday, and the momentum will build on certain connectivity with people, flesh touching flesh, you know, the natural contact, it affects some of the momentum. And even the whole prayer coming together on a Wednesday night for prayer, that went online. And online is a different phenomenon. We didn't have the connectivity problem as my brother had, but it does impact some amount of dynamism and flow in our regard. But still, there was the plus. The plus was that we're still in contact. The church wasn't really closed in the sense of not being able to connect and pray to God. to my mind, church was still open.
Yes. Reverend, right? Same thing for you, in spite of your interconnectivity challenges.
Yes, but we still, try all the strategies to get people together.
Tell us some of them. Some of
the strategies we tried. Although in the earlier stages, not many people would come out, but we tried to go out in small groups, with face masks and everything. We try to go out and not close, but we as much as we can, we move out. And especially, all people having financial challenges. What we as a church have to do is to provide like care packages for the less fortunate.
Yes.
And we had a meal and reel ministry where we were able to go out and help those who are not really able to come out as much as ever. So, and because of all of that, it had some implications for the church.
Yes. And well, how did you meet the challenge in terms of fellowship was mentioned earlier? And we like to hug and greet, and also in terms of the communion and all of those things. How were those things navigated, especially for those who were unable to come into the sanctuary? How did they receive communion? Reverend Carr.
Well, during the time of the lockdown, we didn't have communion. We just had prayer. But once we could break and come together, then we still had communion. So it didn't impact us in a big way. My brother, because of the rural setting, would have maybe a little bit more challenging having to go through terrain, etc. But even when we came back to normality, all the persons came back. So we didn't have a big challenge after. The challenge was more during mask wearing. That was a challenge when we have service. Even though, because it restricts the natural flow of air, and so people have challenged. You have to reminding them, look, the thing is it has not left, so let us do the right thing.
Keep on the mask.
That is a major challenge still.
Yes.
Keeping the mask on.
Yes.
Because to sing with a mask on is not an easy thing when we used to singing freely and open and praising God.
And some people try to preach with it. Some people try to preach with it. You're one of them?
I don't preach it because I'm not near people when I'm preaching. I usually take it off to preach.
Yes.
But it really was a challenge. But one of the things doing Rev is that it has in our church, the enthusiasm has not waned, during our after. As a matter of fact, we even get closer to God during it. That's another positive spin.
Okay.
Wanted to look to the Lord even more because it is really what between what is happening, the pandemic plus Ukraine, is a part of prophecy of Matthew 24. Jesus spoke to his disciples about.
Okay. So
you're saying war and pestilences.
You're saying they even got closer to the Lord and the fellowship. Fellowship was even richer.
You see, all of COVID is not negative, There are some positives coming from it too,
Right.
So that's another spin I want to look on it, That it calls us to depend on God and His Word more and search in the Scriptures more to find out what is this about. Is this God or is it the devil? Is it a part of prophecy or not?
Yes.
I would conclude that this is a part of the prophecy as Jesus told his disciples in Matthew 24.
Yes. Okay. Hold that thought. Hold that thought, please, Reverend Carr. We're up on a break. We'll be right back.
Okay, Reverend.
50 and over, get the best health plan as well as fabulous discounts. Visit ccrponline.org today or call 469-1944 and live life to the fullest. The time by CCRP is
7:45 a.m. and you're tuned to Love 101.
Up, put your plans in motion. There's a JN Bank loan just for you. That's true. Put your plans in motion. JN Bank will help you see them through.
A JN Bank unsecured loan can help you fix up your home, handle that emergency, consolidate debt, and more. Borrow up to $5 million with low monthly payments.
Disciplines in motion.
Monthly payments as low as $19,999 per million. Conditions apply. JN Bank. We'll help you find a way.
And Digicel wins again, out in front with another consecutive Ookla Award for the fastest speeds. The champion network crosses the finish line first by providing the best mobile coverage, best mobile network, and fastest home internet Jamaica has seen in 60 years. There's just no beating Digicel.
Join Digicel for Jamaica's best mobile coverage, best mobile network, and fastest home internet you can always rely on. Digicel, made in Jamaica. For more info on Ookla, visit digiceljamaica.com.
Jamaica's gangs are like packs of rats. They live in filth and try and drag us all in there with them, spreading the disease of violence and corruption everywhere. But like a pack of rats, they can be eliminated with your help. If you have information on gangs, call Crime Stop on 311. This message is brought to you by Crime Stop and their marketing partners, Lime and NCB.
Sometimes all we need is a listening ear. The listening ear, the counseling, the logical reasoning, and spiritual guidance are what appeal to us. That's why I'm here. I'm Dr. Joan Pinkney, the counselor, your counselor on Love 101 FM, Tuesdays and Wednesdays, 10 to 11 p.m. You know you can call on me. I will listen and more. So let's talk about what's bothering you. Anything. Tune in, listen, call in, text or voice message. I'm Dr. Joan Pinkney, counseling psychologist, ready with a listening ear, Tuesdays and Wednesdays, 10 to 11 p.m. right here on the family station, Love 101 FM.
Non-communicable diseases, NCDs, are the leading cause of death and disability in Jamaica, a real public health problem. Be in the know. Reduce your and your family's risk. Information and action equal satisfaction. Go now to ncdip.moh.gov.jm to be in the know.
It's easy to follow, you see?
Me love use the BMI calculator.
The wellness check tool can tell you about your risk.
I understand my numbers better thanks to the NCDIP website.
Cause good health is like enough money in the bank. NCDIP website. Friendly, engaging, and empowering.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Toussaint, and we are continuing our discussion on the ministry and mission of the church during and after the pandemic and the war in Ukraine. But before we do that, I understand that there's at least one feedback coming into the studio. Deidre?
Yes, Dwayne says it may be a technological change, but not all changes are improvements. I see the need for electronic bill payment, but what was the real need for electronic prescription?
Okay. Interesting.
About, yes.
Yes. All right. Thank you very much. And thanks to Dwayne, is it, for sending in that comment in the form of a question. Okay. So we're talking about the ministry and mission of the church during and after the pandemic and the war. And we have online the Reverend Orlando Wright, pastor of the Mount Campus Circuit of Baptist Churches, and Reverend Silvan Carr, pastor of the Abundant Life Christian Church. Before the break, Pastor Carr, you're telling us about your experience and your thoughts.
I was just saying that there's the positive spin we had. It wasn't all negative. One of the positive spin is that we searched the scriptures. We realized that what was happening lined up with Matthew 24. And so it built a certain amount of desire to know more about God, more about the word, draw closer to him. Because this is prophecy, meaning that we need to get ready. Like the 10 virgins. However, we prefer to see ourselves as wise. So we were venturing our oil, weighing our lamp. That was one of the positive spin that came from the whole situation.
Okay. Reverend Wright, what do you consider though to be the ministry and mission of the church, especially in a time like this? And what about the methods that have been used? Any concerns there?
Yes, let me just say this. Certainly, it has been a paradigm shift in our society, and these are unprecedented days. or what we have developed here at Mount Nebo is that we have never missed out on the Lord's Supper, communion, the Holy Communion. So what we have done is to have communion online. And the 3 churches, in fact, I have more than 100 persons who are actually on the WhatsApp service. And we do prayer meeting every Sunday night online.
So hold on there, Pastor. Hold on there, Pastor. The communion, those who cannot go to the sanctuary.
What we do,
how do they participate in the communion?
All right, all the members, what we do here, I would officiate at the communion at home online, and everybody would have their cups and bread and whatever wherever they are in their homes, and we going through the system, and we send the pictures of how it is done, and we really have everybody coming in and have their bread and their wine and so on and so forth. So we connect everybody. And it is interesting to note that they enjoyed this because they can't go out at the time.
So should this be the way forward then, Pastor, right? Right? Should this be the way forward then, that we have this online church?
Yes, yeah, but remember too that as soon as we get the go-ahead to have church, the people are so glad to come back because there is something about fellowship. There's something about the unity of among believers, which they are so glad, and they came out in droves just to see, because the touching and that is not possible, but just to see one another.
Okay.
It's so important that the fellowship was great with excitement and so on. So we have not really been, in that way. That's a positive for us. And we do a number of things online. But when we got back into church, wow, it was such a great, it's like you're just longing to see each other.
Yeah,
Reverend Carr, I need to ask you guys this before, both of you actually. There are concerns I'm gathering among some pastors and ministries that with the exposure that people now have to all of these churches, both in Jamaica and abroad, everybody just click on now and then you're in somebody's church and be exposed to all kind of doctrine, right? Online. What are your concerns about that, and how should we address that?
What I do, I tell my brethren at my church that I have to be very careful of who we listen to, because there are persons out there who are not very sound in terms of scriptures and doctrine that is there. So we at our church, we emphasize the word. If you hear something and you are not sure, whatever you hear, make sure you can verify it in the word. And remember, the Holy Spirit lives in us. And so that's the best teacher, because Jesus said that he'll teach us and bring us all things to remembrance in St. John 14. So there's a concern there, because sometimes people have itching ears and all kind of doctrine that come then catch on to it. Right. So I think that as a church, we have to be teaching our members to ensure that whatever they hear, because they will hear, they will see, internet is there, the cable is there, they have to make sure that whatever is heard is matched by the word of God, is verified in the word.
Yeah.
Very important.
We've seen a comment coming in from Nicole where she says, I see where the online made others all over the world decide to serve God. And she's regarding that as a positive development.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. Reverend, right?
Yes. You see what happened is that when you are sound and take the teaching ministry seriously, because we really emphasize this. Now that we are back, we have both online Bible study every Wednesday, and we also have face-to-face Bible study in all the churches. So we balance it, because it's not only here that people listen to us. We have members who are in the diaspora, and they do listen to us. And if we don't keep up the online thing now, it would be disappointing. So we are trying our best to maintain that ministry as well as a face-to-face ministry. So we twin them. But I agree with my brother, because you have to really ensure that your teaching is sound, you're biblical. You're not doing that, you get caught up. So when you train your people into the sound biblical teaching, they will not be twisted here and there. They will be firm, rooted and grounded in the faith.
Rooted and grounded.
Amen.
Yes. So going forward, what do you see the future of the church with this online stuff and with the access to everybody's church and teaching and doctrine? Reverend Carr, what would the future look like?
Going forward, I think that it has opened, COVID has also a positive, it opened a new paradigm for ministry to take place online. It's not ideal, but it's still reaching it, and people can get saved online as well. So that's a positive going forward. And the caution is that, as my brother said, that the doctrine at home is supposed to be sound. So that any little wind passing don't catch your members and carry them astray.
Hopefully.
It's typically based, it's sound, and we emphasize that our fellowship, that everybody must know Jesus Christ for themselves.
Yes.
Important. Very important. No word, no God, but the Holy Spirit lead you. And I mean, that is it. Not to come with new doctrine.
Yes. Reverend, right? The way forward, the future. How will the future for the church look? What do you think?
It looks very good for me, because guess what? Every morning I develop a strategy that every morning, I would, it doesn't matter whether here or abroad, I do a prayer. I ensure that I prayed every morning. And it is interesting to note that I have a kind of memory. I call the names of almost every believer and pray for them from time to time. The deacons, I pray for deacons. I call the names, because at Mount Nebo we have about nearly 30 deacons. And I call their names, pray for them. I pray for sick shut in. I pray for those who are grieving, those who are really having troubles and so on and so forth. So they are so glad to hear their names. When we have Bible study, we integrate it so that they come online and they read the scripture, we send the audio, and they read and they get involved. So it's amazing here. We are really having some great times, and I believe that, the Lord is good.
So there are more positives coming out of the pandemic
than
negatives.
Yes. Truly.
Good. Right. What was meant for evil, God has turned it around for good.
Yes, for good. Yes.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us, gentlemen. Thanks for the positive note on which we are ending today. And all the best in your ministries. We thank God for you. Keep up the good work. Have a productive day.
And thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Great.
Great.
Thank you. Right. Thank you, listeners, for being with us. For information how to get copies of this program, call our production department at 876-968-9596-7. Now, this has been the Morning Watch. Thanks to our producer and our guests. Please join Mr. Stokely Marshall next week as he continues to look at the issues of the day. I'm Dylan Toussaint, expressing condolences to the family and the church family of Mrs. Sarah Newland Martin, who died yesterday. She was a treasured guest on this program multiple times. May her soul rest in peace. As I hand you back to Love in the Morning with Deidre Parchment.
Thank you so much, Dr. Toussaint. Have yourself a wonderful day.
You too, Deidre.
NHF beneficiaries enrolled for diabetes can get a glucometer with use of their NHF card. Apply online at nhf.org.jm. The time by the NHF is
8 o'clock, and it is now